Hello everyone, this is Archana here. Welcome to another podcast with me. Today we will be talking about the emerging face of healthcare in India and across the globe. With more and more companies coming forward and offering online platforms to people to book an appointment with the doctor, to order your medicines, or to book a lab test, I feel MedLife has come to be a consistent player in the arena of healthcare. Today I have with me Dr. Karthik Anantharaman, who's a part of my professional network and based in Bangalore, India. He has had a splendid and a rewarding, meritorious career in the field of healthcare, starting GE Healthcare, AstraZeneca, Bicon, Merck Incorporation's USA, the list is endless. Today, he's the director for e-Pharma and private label business with MedLife. Hello, doctor. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on this.
Pleasure is all ours, doctor. Thank you so much for coming by. Dr. Karthik, tell me one thing. With COVID-19 hitting the globe, I'm sure there are a lot of things, you as a company, you as a leader, leading your team, must have taken a lot of steps to ensure that medicines being delivered across India and in a fashion that it is in uninterrupted. What are the measures that you had taken during this tough time?
I think if there are a few good things that COVID-19 has done to all companies, it has been that it has forced us to work as a team. It has brought in a real sense of purpose to collaborate with people instead of competing with people, and a real sense of purpose in terms of delivering good health to the doorstep of people is what we had set out to when the company was actually established, and we stand by it, we stand abiding by it. There were a couple of things that actually came up early on when the lockdown was announced. I think it was very important for us to ensure that all questions, doubts that consumers may have about allowing a delivery boy to come home and deliver medicine, about allowing a phlebotomist to come home and pick up a blood sample or a urine sample to do a lab investigation. All of these were actually significant concerns that people had, and I'm sure many people continue to have them. So I think the first that we had on our hands was to make sure that we mitigate those risks. We take every action possible to make sure that every employee who's out there in the field serving consumers, serving patients, is very well protected himself or herself. So we made sure that everyone had access to a mask. They wore mask at all times. Everyone had access to disposable gloves. Wherever required, a PPE kit, a personal protection kit, so that before they enter into the home of anyone, they are protected first. And second, all employees, before they set out to the field, were actually trained adequately on the right safety measures that they need to follow for themselves, and how they can also, impart some of these safety measures when they are actually entering homes of people. What are the precautions to be taken? For example, opening a gate, right? For example, pressing of a doorknob, pressing of a lift knob, holding the handle and opening the door, climbing upstairs without having to hold the handle, right? And entering when you're entering through the security in an apartment or a villa. So what are the precautions to be taken? So all of these were very properly, I think, thought about. We had an SOP come in early on to make sure that all our employees are trained enough before they set out to the field, which was very, I think, timely. And the employees did appreciate that, yes, the company has taken these measures. So they were more confident in being able to go and serve consumers out there. And then when the delivery boys and the phlebotomists, when they actually reached out to the field, when they started speaking to customers about all these precautions that we have taken as an organization to keep consumers safe, I think consumers appreciated that as well. And what we also did from a marketing communications perspective is to actually create a marketing communications banner out of this. And that was actually sent out as an SMS, as an email to all our consumer databases, so that the consumers know that as MedLife, as a company, we are socially responsible, and we are making sure that we are taking utmost care to keep both our consumers safe and our employees safe. So it builds that level of trust, in all our consumers to continue to use MedLife as a trusted service provider when it comes to ordering online medicines, when it comes to ordering lab investigations online. And most recently, we see that more and more consumers want to use telemedicine platform to consult with their doctors.
Yes.
So we have launched recently a teleconsultation platform also to ensure that patients have access to physicians when they need them.
Lovely.
They can actually book an appointment and take a consultation.
Wow, I think this is a wonderful, all the steps that you have taken, the control measures, everything, and especially the parts that you mentioned about e-consultation with the doctors. I think this is something very important because we have people who are senior citizens, people who are suffering from fatal diseases. In this time, if they can book an online appointment with the doctor and get consultation, I think this is quite commendable. This definitely speaks about the kind of leadership, I mean, it talks a lot about you, Dr. Karthik. I think I must congratulate you for the way you've handled the entire situation and bring together your team to make this possible in these are dire situations. I think this is lovely in a way. Great.
I think
So
it
I
is
mean,
teamwork. It is not just the action of one person. There are a lot of team members. It's absolute teamwork of at least about 13 or 14 different business functions coming together. As I mentioned, I
wow,
think this is one situation which has really brought teams together in true spirit of a
yeah,
team. It has built collaboration. So we no longer hear the word competition anymore, because I don't think anyone can survive, anyone can remain in business competing with one another anymore. I think that's one clear takeaway from this pandemic. So people will now continue to collaborate. There will be much more collaboration than before, and there will be companies that will come together to complement. As to, if I have one service to offer and the other company has another, people would now want to kind of come together, share their consumer databases, and kind of operate together. I think that is the only way to bring in more functional productivity and to stay afloat in business. Yeah. So that is one thing that's
absolutely.
core learning. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're very well said, sir. You're absolutely right, Dr. Karthik, there. Collaboration is the key word during these tough times, unprecedented times. Absolutely right. In fact, this platform, this business model depends a lot on the supply chain management. I'm sure this must have got disrupted, and I'm sure you must have tried to collaborate somehow or the other to make sure the supplies of the medicine to whichever zip codes you could cater to. It must have happened. So, what's your thought on this? How did you make this happen?
I think supply chain forms one of the backbone of our business. Naturally, the way how every business is impacted, I'm sure pharma companies are also impacted the same way. So when the lockdown began, naturally, pharma companies also were forced to remain in lockdown for a few days. But I think
Yeah.
overall, considering that healthcare, pharmaceutical sciences as a business is considered essential service, so I think the government was very supportive in allowing us to operate even during the lockdown. We did contract quite a few pharmaceutical distributors to make sure that we are able to manage the medicine supply to the extent possible, to keep the supplies coming in. So the distributors were very cooperative as well. So therefore,
Yeah.
also we saw that which are those medicines which people will be more eager to purchase during a
Yeah.
lockdown kind of situation. And that's where we feel that, now there is a lot of noise going around keeping the immunity up, so that we are able to ward off infections. And the backbone to keeping a strong immunity is to make sure that our blood sugar is in control, our blood pressure is in control, our cholesterol is in control. And hence we saw early on that patients were much more sensitive and much more aware to make sure that they wanted to keep their blood sugars in control, blood pressure in control,
Yeah.
and cholesterol in control. So we at least focused on making sure that diabetes medicines, blood pressure management medicines, cholesterol management medicines, at least we are able to supply as much as we can and procure them from any distributor that is able to provide us the supplies on time. We tried to make sure that in all the cities where we are physically present, where we have delivery boys, we could go out to the field every day during the lockdown. We never shut down
Wow.
even for a single day. We were operational every single day during the lockdown. And we made sure that wherever there is a delivery boy that is available, we are able to be in operation in that particular town or city. We went there and we delivered as much as we could. The only thing that we was impacted is that the courier service weren't there for a few weeks. So
Yeah.
therefore, some of the parts of the country where we do not have a delivery boy on the ground, earlier we used to serve them through couriers. But the good news is that that service has now come back. So therefore, now we are able to once again reinitiate and restart our courier services to those pin codes, which are serviced exclusively through courier. So therefore, I think things are getting better. and we continue with our commitment to make sure that we don't rest until we serve all our consumers and try our best to contribute to the good health of our country.
What a wonderful thought, Doctor. I think that was a very intelligent move from your end to make sure that you could source those medicines which were used by many, diabetes management and, heart management, or maybe the blood pressure management. I think it was a very, very, very intelligent move from your end to make those medicines available with you all the time so that they could be delivered without any hindrances. I think that's absolutely great. Doctor, you were also mentioning about, what practices people can follow, that you just spoke about, that, they need to keep their cholesterol in control. They need to make sure their dietary patterns are in control so that they don't land themselves into any trouble considering the COVID-19 situation and not a very easy access to going to the hospitals. So I was just reading your article, on lung, how one can take care of lungs, at
Yeah.
home today, considering the COVID-19 situation. Would you like to throw some light on that?
Absolutely. I think a couple of things, not just the lung care during the COVID-19 situation or the COVID-19 pandemic. Few things on the lung care. I think very important is that we need to stay fit. We need to exercise. I'm not saying that I'm super fit. I don't have an athletic body, but at least I make sure that I go out for a walk or a jog, or I do cycling for a minimum of 30 minutes a day. And that is like very, very critical, super critical, especially for, the 20 to 50 or 20 to 55 year age group, which is what we call the productive population of the country. But it doesn't mean that children need to stay home and adults need to stay home. Yes, I agree. There is a general precaution that we take, that children under 10 years and senior citizens above 60 years need to exercise more precaution during this time. But that being said, I think even within the apartment, within the community, taking a walk for about 30 minutes is still allowed, and one can always do. And just regular walking does a lot good to the human body. It actually increases the good cholesterol. It improves lung function, and the breathing will be much more smoother. It will be at ease. So I think keeping fit keeps the lungs fit as well. So that's the first tip towards lung health. The second thing is basically to quit smoking. I don't think there can be a more opportune moment for someone that's considering to kick the butt, as they say. I think this is the most opportune moment to kick the butt. There can't be another opportune moment presenting anytime soon. So that does a lot good. In fact, the goodness of quitting smoking starts showing up from the first week of quitting smoking itself. So the lung is so responsive to a non-nicotine situation that it actually starts bouncing back to normal. And one can feel that energy, one can feel the positive change in health once they take that resolve of actually kicking the butt. So I think second is that. The third is, I think, for specific people who are a little more allergic in nature. So there are a few people who tend to have allergic tendency of sneeze and getting a wheeze. Some people have bronchial asthma kind of attack, especially when they have in the middle of fine dust, pollen, etc. I think to keep away from some of these irritants and allergens will do a lot good to avoid a potential lung infection or even a lung allergy as such. And clean air. I think with a lot of traffic coming down, pollution coming down, I'm sure nature is redeeming, and so is I think the air is much cleaner than ever before. So therefore, I think doing some of these quick things of keeping fit and also eating fresh cooked food and foods that are rich in natural vitamins and minerals, and especially immune boosters, typically vitamin C, zinc, and some of the herbal preparations like neem, tulsi, ashwagandha, curcumin. So all these, in fact, vitamin D3. Now, vitamin D3 is a very, I would say, once you go out in sunlight, go for a walk, sun itself is a natural source of body manufacturing vitamin D. So all these are good. And these are things that will not only take care of general body wellness, but also the lung health specifically that we just were alluding to. Yeah.
Great. I think these are very great inputs for all those who are watching this. You must take a cue from here. You must make sure that you take care of your lungs, because infection is one thing we need to stay away from right now, and even in in our general everyday to day life. Great, Dr. Karthik. What would you like to add for people who are diabetic or suffering, from maybe thyroid?
Yeah. I think people know the answer to this question, and I did mention part of it in one of my previous mentions of regarding blood sugar. So, see, high blood sugar reduces immunity. Uh, High blood sugar increases the chance of blood clotting inside the blood vessels, which can lead to a heart attack, a stroke. It can lead to a retinopathy. It can lead to, what we call as peripheral vascular disease, which can lead to what you say, gangrene or amputation of foot, neuropathy, multiple complications if sugar is not in control. But I think let's discuss the COVID situation. First thing, if your sugar is not in control, immunity is weak. Same way, blood pressure is not in control, immunity is weak. Cholesterol is not in control, immunity is weak. Thyroid is not at a normal level, it is in a subnormal level or below normal, immunity is weak as well. Because thyroid is one such hormone which impacts the function of multiple organs in the body, starting from the brain function to the heart function, to the lung function, to kidney function, to liver function, to spleen function. Every important organ in the body functions normally because of a normal thyroxine hormone level. So if thyroid is low, many functions of multiple organs can actually become low or suboptimal. So therefore, maintaining a normal thyroid level by taking the thyroid hormone supplement tablets, maintaining normal blood sugar level, and maintaining managing the blood pressure to be within the normal blood pressure range, and maintaining a normal cholesterol level is key in during these times to make sure that the immunity stays normal and up. And of course, there is absolutely no harm in taking some supplements like, say, zinc or vitamin C or even vitamin D3 supplements to keep the immunity up. These are some of the good nutraceuticals that are recommended as immune boosters. And in addition to that, now there are syrups available for children, which are both immune booster syrups. And there are, of course, tablets available, neem, curcumin, ashwagandha, etc. for adults as well. So that way, I think exercise, daily exercise, good diet, fresh cooked meals, not really deep frozen meals, so fresh cooked meals, and regular adherence to any chronic disease regimen, be it diabetes medicine, cholesterol medicine, or blood pressure medicine. And fourth, some of these immune booster supplements. Broadly, these four would what I would categorize as a good recipe to kind of maintain good health during these situations.
Great. I think this is a wonderful takeaway for all of us viewers out there. I think this is, definitely MedLife is on their toes. The entire team, the management is working round the clock to make sure medicines reach you, whichever zip codes they can serve, considering the constraints, the logistics part of it. But you at your end need to make sure that your immunity is maintained. You take care of your health with respect. You must take a walk. You must eat, healthy food and exercise a bit so that, no infection comes near you. I think this is a wonderful message, Dr. Karthik. Thank you so much for this. With respect to, I see a lot of work happening at your end with respect to definitely your team coming into play. So what exactly, how the management, how you yourself as a leader would like to support your team, in these tough times?
I think what we have done for teams, I think there can't be anything more motivating to the team than reassurance and kind of showing them that we are there for them and that we care for them. So what we have also done internally is that for certain employees who are at higher risk, for example, our phlebotomists who actually have to handle blood samples, take them to a lab, our delivery boys. So they are actually working in a higher risk environment, right? So we made sure that without exception, everyone was given zinc and vitamin C supplements to keep their immunity up. For high-risk employees, we also gave them hydroxychloroquine, which is actually a medicine that's approved by the Government of India, by ICMR, to manage COVID-19 situations. It's primarily recommended for doctors and healthcare workers. Considering that our phlebos are also healthcare workers, our delivery boys are healthcare workers, wherever during the beginning of the lockdown, we gave them hydroxychloroquine. And we have made sure that every other employee who's working is getting from the company side to make sure that they're getting zinc or vitamin C supplements supplied by the company to them to keep their immunity up. So the other measure that we have taken towards employee welfare, in addition to giving them immune boosters, is to make sure that we have an insurance coverage being provided to employees and their family, that in case anyone were to get infected or were to be admitted in the hospital for a COVID situation, they don't have to worry on the monetary impact of that, so that they are very well covered under insurance. So I think some of these measures, which are, I would say, both taking care of internal customers, as we say, which as our employees, our people, and external consumers in terms of earning their trust and retaining their trust. So these are some of the things that I think still keep us in business, and we look forward to serving the country.
Absolutely. Kudos to your team and the management. Of course, your great leadership. I think you've set an example here, Dr. Karthik. It would have been a real pleasure. I'm sure your team is really happy to be working for a corporate like this. I think it's wonderful in the kind of things you have made available for them, insurance and supplements to be given to them. I think this is quite a reassurance that they are working for the right brand, and they would be so happy to serve and make themselves available and give that one step forward to make sure the goals, the missions, and the values of the company are being met. I think this is really wonderful. Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Karthik, for coming on board and sharing this with our viewers. I'm sure they're going to, love all the information you have shared with them. Thank you so much for coming on board, and we will request you to keep coming, on board with us and talk about more pressing topics and create awareness among people. Thank you so much, Dr. Karthik. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me over. Thank you.
Pleasure is ours. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
What an exemplary display of traits like empathy and care by Dr. Karthik Anantharaman. I think this is wonderful. These are the qualities an employee is looking for in a leader, and this is the reason why they made themselves available to make uninterrupted supply of medicines across India to people in not only in one but even second tier cities across India. I think this is absolutely commendable. Kudos to your team and to the entire medical fraternity, the pharma industry, the medical healthcare industry that is making available healthcare so easily available to people across India. We wish you all the best, and we respect your integrity. We respect the efforts you are putting in to make it available to all of us in these unprecedented times. We wish you all the luck and the best. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for more.